Can somebody just move this? Oh, good on you. Can we just move that this one out of the way? Thank you. Beautiful. Welcome everybody to our next session, where we're going to have an opportunity to hear from some people who are actually part of peer support networks across metro area. Looking forward to hearing personal stories on the ground. We've got a great facilitator for this session. I'd like to introduce you to Samantha Connor. She's the Disability Sector Organisation Facilitator for People with Disabilities WA. And she's also Sam. Everyone knows Sam Connor in WA. Everybody knows her for her advocacy, her strong peer connect work in this space. So welcome. Can't think of anybody else to facilitate this session. Thank you.
Thanks, Bronya. And actually fantastic to see this lineup, isn't it? Hi, Savannah. Before we kick off, we have a welcome to country from Mr. Joe Collard, who is where? Yes. Can I get you to come up, Joe? Joe is, and it's actually fabulous that we have Karina, who's one of our people, and also Joe, who is from the Pilbara and Perth metropolitan areas of WA, and actually heard. I'm just going to say Bibbulmun because it's just the way that I'm going to mispronounce that. Your own ancestral and tribal language when you're about 8 that you heard at the knee of your granddad. And Joe attended 6 high schools in Melbourne, Victoria, Derby and the Kimberley, Leinster in the northern goldfields, and 3 in Metro Perth, and acquired an acute interest in the traditional culture and languages being spoken at the various locations in Australia. And when Joe became an adult, he completed a Bachelor of Applied Science in Indigenous Community Management and Development Practitioner and a Diploma in Language and Linguistics, and has the biggest background in the world with community development, training, project management, and believes that the way forward is through truth, healing and professional growth. Can I get everyone to give Joe a really big round of applause?
Thank you, everyone. Did you know that we've got over... what I'm actually doing is just adding on to my sister, my Chuk, from that morning when she welcomed you all. So, did you know that Australia has over 250 languages when the Europeans first arrived here? Did you know we have less than 15 that are still strong? My language, the Bibbulmun Maya, the Southwest language from this country, we are a critically endangered language. So we're still suffering, we're still fighting in the courts, and we don't even have 1 acre of our land back to do some culture, healing and personal growth for our people. So walk with us, we understand your pain, we also live with pain also. But from a cultural perspective, connection to country, we're hurting that way. So some greetings that you might know might be from your language. I'll just start it off to welcome you the United Nations. So we know bonjour, ni hao, namaste, salamat, salam, ciao, kia ora, shalom, hola, konnichiwa, guten tag, how's it? So there's some hellos. Do any of you know any hellos in our languages in Australia? Besides kaya from my country, does anyone know any other hellos in an Aboriginal? Where? Baya. Central Australia? Yeah? Anyone else? That's paya. Yeah? So here we say kaya. So I was hoping I'd had that thing down there, but they took it away. It's okay. All right. So we do say kaya, kaya wat nyaran, kaya nunakat. Hello, how are you? Hello, everyone. Boga ngan kwel. My name is Boga. I'm Bibbulmun Nyunga. I'm a warrior of the paperbark people. the Bibbulmun Maya Bridia. I'm a teacher of my Bibbulmun language. Ngan Wardang Mart, I belong to the Black Crow people. Nganana White Boranga, my clan group is the Emu people. Ngan Mort Wanarin Jingara Karla, I belong to the Hotham and Bannister River. That is my traditional homeland. That is my mother's 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 mother's. I just wanted to see her do that. It's my maternal line. Ngankora Mort Yaburu Nora Yokorin. My old people came from the north. Like Barangan this way. They came from the north of Australia and they came down to the southwest. That's our migration route. From the north, the Larrakia people, from the second most top people, from Darwin, they came over from the ocean. So there is a migration and it's in our Dreamtime story. Nicha Nalang Kora Demaga Boja. So this is the homeland of our grandmothers. So we speak through a maternal line, not through our father's line, because, you know, father could be someone else. Just double check, all of you do that, okay? So, Nicha Kora Buja, this country is old. Nicha Wirindik Buja, this land is sacred. Nicha Bibbulmun Budjara, these are the homelands of the Bibbulmun people, the paperbark people. So if you go to Broome, they call it saltwater people. You go Central Australia, they say Spinifex people. This is the paperbark people. And you could just imagine when the Nidiyang were on their boats, the Kayabrit. We call them the Kaya. Kaya means hello. Kayabrit means unfriendly. When they come, the Kayabrit, because they were bumming in Nunga, they were killing the Nunga when they were coming here. And that's why they called them the Kayabrit. So when they were sailing along here, the Dutch, the French and the English, they saw all these thousands of paperbark huts, these villages. And that's us, the Bibbulmun people. Okay, so Nganana Nalang Bilyaga. Us mob come from the rivers. Nganyana Arlang Warang Nart. We come from the coastline. Nganyana Arlang Kongan Buja. We come from the coastal plain. Nganang Nalang Warndo Buja. We come from the white gum country, the white gum. Nganyana Arlang Mangart Buja. We come from the jam tree country. Nganyana Arlang Boyaga Buja. We come from the granite rock country. Nganyana Arlang Naji Buja. We come from the Tama scrub country. Nganyana Arlang Karta Buja. We come from the hills. Nicha Nalang Kora Kardajan. This is our history. Not yea, what now, today? Narlag Milya Bojanangan. We must look forward to the future. Dirt Quab warning. We've got to make the path good. Koa, yay, yes, today. Dunju Narlag Buja Walperning. Together we must heal the land. Nichila Kain Walperning. This place we heal our spirits. So we have to heal our spirits. We've got to heal the country. Dunju Narlag Yirinju. We will walk together. Koa, yes. Jerp, Koa, Jerpen. Urla, urla. Be excited, yes, be happy, rejoice, praise. Ninalangan, Wankalangan, yay. As we sit together, talk together today. Naya Jung Milyar Jinangan, Mudij Kanwo, Yandu Yanangan, Kenyak Yay, Kariwa. I will see you in the future, strong with your strong spirits. Thank you very much. That's it. And I just want to finish off quickly, sorry. Well, maybe I should leave it there. But anyways, what I wanted to do was quickly just sing our people, we chanted. So we'd say, Wanagari Garamalana, Wanari Garamalana, Boyakada Wanango, Boyakada Wanango, This old chant was a clearing song, and it was when our people were sick. We had a clever man, and he would sing for that person to get better. And so that clearing song was to get that stuff that was out, within that person and singing better. And that's what that chant is today, to clear up so you can really, really enjoy today and get the most out of it. Because just as the speakers are speaking, we also need to hear from you as well. So, Kariwa, Yarndo Yarangan. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joe. That's awesome. I just had this thought that we're kind of really blessed as disabled people to be part of a community where Wendy and Karina are, my sisters, not just because they're women, but because we're disabled women. And so there's kind of that lovely thing that disability is one of the biggest groups of people, it crosses all of those barriers of race and religion and geography. And yeah, it's actually a lovely thing. You don't hear about disability being called a lovely thing, but it's lovely to have an identity that's, with other people. So a fantastic lineup of people today. I would like to introduce from this end the fabulous Jane from Stepping Stones. Jane I've known for a really long time because in a past life her son, who's the same age as my son, was one of my students at TAFE. How funny is it? We also have, I'm just looking at the disordered thing, Helen, who is from the Joondalup Autism Parents, and Anna, who is from Mental Health Peer Support Networks. Fabulous and articulate Anna. And we have Nikki, who is from Down Syndrome Peer Support Networks. All of them. One of them. Excellent. And Liz Dutton, who's from the WAIS Self-Managers Network. And the fabulous Savannah, who is down the end representing the Youth Disability Advocacy Network, and so which is one of our groups. I've been really lucky to be a person working in this project for a couple of years, along with Beth and with Jules and Bronya as well. So for people who have been working to support peer support groups, and I think it's been really different for all of us, and it's been a real learning curve for all of us about things that have gone right and things that have gone, not so right. But I think also this is a really exciting time where, when we're in the middle of this huge thing that people are having so many problems with especially, we've probably for the first time ever in Western Australia have more and more people who have come together to try and learn and share and to get what we know in one spot so we can sort of deal with those issues. So it's kind of an exciting thing. So I'm trying to think of the best question to ask first, and I'm just looking at Jane because she's the closest, so I can throw her under the bus. You've run Stepping Stones for a long time, haven't you? So what's the thing that's made it go for so long and held it together?
Principally, I think, is the development of the relationships within the group. We started talking about developing a group around 10 years ago, and it was it was 8 years ago in December that we actually had our first meeting. We refer to meetings as a conversation cafe, so we've dispelled all the formal sort of language in the way we were, because we're non-hierarchical, and it was initially around developing the relationships, and I think that's the strength, and that's what's kept us going, is the sharing of tasks and responsibilities to ensure we do keep working and stay healthy and keep progressing as individuals and as a group. So there's a lot of reciprocity goes on, and that's not just when we meet, that's actually between times when we meet. We do a lot of mentoring, and as issues and challenges arise, as they do for us all as parents, and for people with disabilities. My son is 28, he has a disability, so he's going through a transition at the moment, and I talk quite about that with other parents, and we share our experiences, the good and the not so good, the pitfalls and the good stuff. And I think it's that strength that in the relationships where we all feel very comfortable and confidential with each other, to be able to share our, darkest sort of challenges, but also on the upside, our successes, and we learn from each other. So.
And so, Helen, I'm assuming you've got the experience of your group sort of being a newer group as Joondalup Autism Parents, and so I'm a member of PA5, which is the Perth. Where's Rachel? Perth Adult Autistic and Asperger's Association. Close enough, yep. PA5. So we have an adult group for autistic people which meets twice a month, and so when all of the kids get to that age, then they get sucked into going to the pub once a month, and sorry, that's our contribution. So how have you found going, with a new group that's just starting up, have you found that there's been any challenges in getting that started and what it's going to look like?
For us being a new group in our area, there was an existing group, but that group was full, and it kind of fell in my direction as a parent seeking a group and some kind of support. And I was asked if I would be willing to develop that group and establish that group. So I did, with the help of a close friend of mine, and the group has been a really great success, we feel, and the members feel. It has been challenging. It was something that I've never done before, and neither had the person who had run and developed the group with me. But we had some fantastic support from DDWA, from Beth, from Bronya, to help and guide us, really. And the group has gone from strength to strength. We've got 145 families on our page, and we're just the northern suburbs, really. And we've got a Facebook page, and we meet once a month as well. So we've had some fantastic support, and now we're kind of at that period of where we're looking at where our group goes from here, really. And we desperately want to continue, and we've got some fantastic ideas and initiatives. So we're really looking to connect in and develop and really expand our network to help and support families and children so much more. Yeah, thank you.
And I know that for a lot of the autistic community, there's been such interesting times right now with the stuff about eligibility for autism and the way that the rules have been changed, and this whole idea that the federal scheme is being narrowed and capped. And so there's some diagnoses, that it's really been important for us to share those stories so that the people who are making the system and building the system still have an understanding of what it looks like for us. So for you, Anna, you've come from mental health peer support, which is completely different from disability. And that whole idea, one of my big things as a member of that community as well, is the idea of the recovery model, which says that you're going to get better. We're going to get better. And then, the NDIS says that you are going to have a permanent disability that never goes away. So can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. That's an issue for us with NDIS. We're looking to live the best lives we can with or without symptoms. And that's how we think of as recovery. And just the word frightens NDIS, recovery. And so it's been a balancing act to say, hey, we need support. It doesn't just go away just because we use the word recovery. Recovery is a different definition for each person, for us in mental health. And we're not all that damn different. And if you think about the disability sector, mental health is a big issue in the disability sector. It's no fun. And sometimes it gets really tough. So I don't think that it's useful to talk about it being so different, and it's been a real challenge to integrate mental health issues with the disability sector, because we have been...
Just that thing that we're not so different, but I think the thing that's been different is the language that we use, but also the, you know, in mental health for a long time, we've had this really strong peer model that we haven't necessarily had in disability. You know, it's quite different. Peer support looks quite different for different diagnostic groups of people. And so, yeah, that particular thing is a really interesting point.
Yes, thinking about peer support, I personally have always been part of a peer group before I was even diagnosed with a mental health issue, which wasn't till I was 57, although I was crazy before then. But I was always part of a women's circle, and I really see the coming together. The groups that I'm part of now in mental health sector, what we treasure is connection and inspiration. We want to live our best lives, and that's what it's about for us. I'm coming up to my 20th year as a consumer activist, and I tell you it's been the best 20 years of my life. And peer groups for me are nutritious. And we welcome anyone who wants that sort of connection in terms of mental health challenges. Yeah. Does that...
That's one of... Have we got someone who's writing this down somewhere? Because that's actually one of the best quotes about... Yeah, it's fantastic. Nutritious, thank you. Not like the sugary breakfast cereal.
Sugary, no.
Everyone's head just went straight to Fruit Loops then if they were people like me who have lots of diagnoses. I'm sorry. Bad for you stuff.
Occasional treat.
Bad things. So, and Nikki, I was going to give you a really hard question, but I won't. No, because it's that thing where you're waiting for somebody to come along to you. So with autism as well as Down syndrome, I know there's a really high percentage of people who have a mental health condition, and so people with Down syndrome don't just look, you know, the same as everybody else does who they have Down syndrome, the same as any other disability. So I'm just wondering, you know, just maybe some of the things that you found about differences between and similarities between the people that you're supporting in the group and who are supporting each other, you know, so what kind of things have they maybe found that they're battling in the system that are the same, and what kind of things are different, without throwing anybody's... Oh no, that was the easy one.
That was the easy one, was it? Yeah, so I support a lot of the parents and stuff coming through. There is a big cultural difference as well. You know, Down syndrome, it doesn't stick to one culture. So, you know, a lot of the time the battle is like language difficulties, not being able to understand what they're actually being told. And so that can put a big barrier in the way of what people are asking for or receiving. So a lot of our families do get together and have a chat about, well, what are you doing in your area? And yeah, like sort of feeding off each other that way. And as people get older, there's also like dual diagnosis. So you can have autism and Down syndrome, or cerebral palsy and Down syndrome. So then that will come into with differences. So people might go, oh, but they're getting more than me. And it's like, well, hang on, this is an individual thing. Like you might not need those services that this person needs with a dual diagnosis or something like that. So yeah, it's a bit, just trying to understand that sort of, yeah. And I guess I've actually got a 9-year-old boy with Down syndrome, so myself going through the system at the same time can be very useful, as well as the other ladies that work at the Down Syndrome Association have got, adult children with Down syndrome. So I think that sort of is really valuable to our peer connections.
So one of my friends, I'll just out Tom softly because he's not here, right? Is the fabulous Tom. So for I think that thing where you have a connection with older people who have the same diagnosis, is just something that really hasn't been explored, I don't think, especially in autism, So I have 6 kids and some autistic kids, and I never, I'm autistic, but that whole idea of meeting a tribe of people who are your tribe is just something unexplored.
So as well as the play group and our Aim High group, which is young adults with Down syndrome, just this term we've started up we call it Friends for Life group for our teens with Down syndrome, and the feedback from the parents on that is so positive, because not only are the kids all coming together and hanging out, we had a Zumba and disco on Friday night, but we sent the parents and said they're fine, this is a safe environment, and so they all went out to dinner just around the corner where they were nice and close, but they went out for dinner and then came back and were like, just there reconnecting, because I think that in the early years, yes, you connect, but then as they all go to school and stuff, it kind of dwindles out a bit, and so we found it was really important to get them all back connected, and some of them hadn't seen each other for 10 years, and so then obviously when you get that face-to-face connection, then all the online connections start happening again and stuff.
That's so fabulous. And shout out, because I know there's a couple of people with intellectual disability here, so where's Ingrid? With the arm. Ingrid is representing Self Advocacy WA, which is our self-advocate group for people with intellectual disabilities, and it's been associated with people with disability WA for a long time. Sorry, interpreter, that was really fast. So Liz, the self-manager stuff, as a self-manager and NDIA participant, I have that face because it's actually something that a lot of us who haven't had supports in the past, I've had some supports for my children, but not for myself. And so this has been a really, really hard thing for me to get my head around, as well as being somebody who's naturally really bad with money. How have you found that people are supporting each other and coping with navigating that part of the NDIS? And, are they coping with it? Is it easier than they thought, harder than they thought?
I think because our group is a group of people who have some complex disabilities, they've found use in microboards, and even though our group is for self-managed, it's also about self-direction. So while we have some people who self-manage, then there's people like me who aren't quite happy to share, manage and put all of that paperwork to a service provider, which I think is, like you were saying, you're not good at the numbers. Yeah, I don't even try. But every group member has their own way of doing things, so we like to get the input from everyone to contribute, to tell us how they do it, what has worked and what hasn't worked.
And you're on Facebook too, aren't you? You have a group?
Yeah, it's a closed group.
Cool. So if anybody's, so it's the Waste Self-Managers group. Yeah. So I'll come tag you in. No problems. So I always go, oh, hi Savannah, and I get really excited because we're talking about Youth Disability Advocacy Network and they're awesome. So I had the great privilege of sitting in on an interview, did you know this, a couple of weeks ago, for your project officer? Yeah, I'm the guy who comes and does the interviewing type of thing sometimes. And then I shout at all of the people on your committee and say, no, you picked the wrong person. I don't. This group of young people has just gone ahead in leaps and bounds. And I think one of the things that Wydan have done, which is actually quite different than a lot of other disability groups, is you started out being with a disability service provider to give you a bit of backbone support, and now you're with, the youth service, a mainstream youth service. Could you talk about that a bit?
So we were originally facilitated by Inclusion WA. So we had our meetings at their office and stuff. But then we moved to the YACWA office, so that's Youth Affairs Council of WA, and we're currently auspiced by YACWA, and that's been really good because they give us a lot of support about like different things like to do with government and stuff, and they also give us like lots of resources, and we have a project officer who is employed by them, and the lady there helps us with our grant applications, and it's been really good. The project officer is just someone we've just employed to help us just do administrative tasks like bookings and stuff. But yeah, he's really good and very helpful. So we just. We did a while ago. We went to Bunbury a few years ago, and then we went to Karratha, I think, or Geraldton, but I didn't go on that trip, but two members went, I think, and yeah, it was really good. We're trying to expand our networks across Western Australia, and so we're planning to go to Mandurah, and we're planning regional trips later in the year, but yeah.
One of the things that I've been really impressed with you guys is that you have that real focus on young people being disabled and being unapologetic and being proud and making, making a difference. Oh, would you all have just pushed me off the stage? Thank you. Please let me never say that. But, making changes in the way that people think about disabled people. So Youth Disability Advocacy Network have done things like, they go and do something that's a bit like an asset audit, but it's a little bit more like this would be good if this was a youth-friendly space for disabled young people. So the focus is actually around being young as well. And the peer support that happens with your group is just amazing. So what can people do if they want to actually join up with you guys?
So the first rule is you have to be under 26. So that rules out a few people, but first rule is you have to actually be 25, and on the day before you turn 26, you're you can't be there anymore. Sorry. But if you want to actually be on the committee, you have to apply when we open applications. Otherwise, you can just join our Facebook groups. So we have the Facebook, well actually it's just one Facebook group now for 13 to 25-year-olds. And it's a closed group and it's a safe online space, so that's all good. And you basically just go on and search up Youth Disability Advocacy Network and then groups, and then you should be able to find it. Otherwise, you can like and follow our Facebook page and our Twitter, and we are getting LinkedIn soon, so hashtag watch this space. And you don't have to be, you can be over 25 to like our Facebook page. So you don't have to be under 25 for that, so that's all right.
I would have had to go home and unlike it. I would have had to have gone home and unliked it several times. Thank you so much. It'd be really great if we can, maybe send all of our social media links around. In the next room, there are some on the pin boards. There's some posters and things that have, Beth's 30,000 groups and an hour 20, whatever it is. And so there's the groups are actually listed on there if you wanted to find out some more about that. I was speaking of safe online spaces. I'm one of the administrators of the most unsafe space in the world, the NDIS Grassroots Discussion Group. So, awful. So, wait, is this being recorded? Yes, excellent. So, it's a really confusing environment, online spaces, because you're limited in the way that you communicate, of course. So, because you're communicating at a very rapid space, and we all have communication differences. So, I'm just wondering if somebody has an opinion about, where the actual real peer support comes from. Is it face-to-face? Because a lot of us are separated by distance and disability and all those things. Or is it, is that learning still doable online? Has someone got a...
I think there's room for every way of supporting each other. And you agree?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and people have their favourite. And young people coming up may well feel more comfortable connecting online first and come to face occasionally. And us oldies may think, what if I press the button and the whole thing explodes?
And I like White Ant by accident.
Yeah. Yes, no, I think that the whole area is just so individual that, yeah. Do you want to say?
I'm not going to say too much really, other than I completely agree. We have a Facebook page where it's a closed, safe, secure space where people can share information and express opinions and ideas, which we have 145-ish families that are part of that. And then we do have a face-to-face meetup where we meet once a month, and we probably get 20 to 30 people that come to that. But I think by having the two, we can share so much more information and provide information in a different way and share information and ideas in a different way. And like you say, different people need different things and want different things in a different way. So the more we can share that information and those ideas, the better, however that needs to be done really, as long as it is in a safe environment that we can do that. So, yeah.
And I'm just really aware that for Liz's group especially, if there's lots of people who don't use spoken language and who use pod and who use alternative modes of communication, and also people who aren't parents and don't use Facebook, it's quite different in the way that we carry out peer support.
I was going to say COMWA, the Mental Health Consumer Association, has a fabulous newsletter, and that's another way of connecting and letting people know what's going on in the spaces.
If I could just add, we've been around a fairly long time, and we've got very settled in our modus of our conversation cafes, and so the face-to-face is really integral in that part in terms of building the relationships that have sustained and nurtured us. However, you know, it has maintained the group in those numbers, however the quality of them are. We now want to open up some more, and to do that, of course, we need to address the question around Facebook. We have the resources, we have the voluntary contribution ready to go, but there is still the resistance that that's going to change the whole relationship within the groups. So that's something we've got under consideration at the moment, and something we're working on because it's part of the present and will be more part of the future in terms of appealing to different demographics.
Yeah, and I'm aware that one of the groups that all of our peer support groups are also different. You know, Beth will. Where's Beth? There. Beth, who has the millions of groups. There's no two groups that are the same, are they? You know, even if it's around geography or disability. So the amputee group, which Andrew Fairbairn is somewhere, he's probably outside eating, is he? Oh, good, I can throw him under the bus then. So peer support for amputees looks quite different. Karen Harvey is from Spinal Chatter for people with spinal cord injury, and it's a very, very different looking type of peer support than other types of peer support. So yeah, I'm really aware that the way that we communicate, the things that have come out of some of those groups and the way they communicate, that we have a group for disabled shooters who are predominantly men. Are you in that group yet, Karen? Karen? Yes. No, not shooting. Come shooting. So there's all these things that have happened. We have disabled gamers groups that are sort of evolving out of the autistic groups, and there's some really exciting things that are happening out of the ways that we're communicating face-to-face and not face-to-face. I just
want to be discriminating against the shooters.
No, you have no idea how hard it is to start an online shooters group in the climate that it is with reporting about awful things that have happened in America, because there is never a good time to start that, you know, even with our very safe gun laws. So. Oh, the clay pigeon? Yeah. Oh, flamethrower. Yeah. It's exciting. The FSHD and muscular dystrophy group has sort of merged together with the spinal cord injury group to, you know, all of the blokes who are just really in love with guns have all come together, because most of them are wheelchair users, and they're talking about mods and their different gun clubs. It's just amazingly fantastic. Something that's evolved. We've got some time just quickly to take some questions from the audience. Yep. Yep. So who has got a burning question? Anybody? Ask a hard one. Ask a really hard one. Really? Ask. Let's pick a person to ask a hard question of. So that question was at the AGMs, and you know, are we measuring the voluntary contributions made by our volunteers? It's a good question. Are we?
throw a little bit in about that. We don't have AGMs because we're informal, albeit with a framework and a structure. But we don't have AGMs, so we don't, and our meetings, as I said, are informal settings, but albeit structured. So it's based on self-investment. So anything we do some workshops and a variety of forums which we've done over the years. All of that is voluntary input, all of it. Anything that goes over and above, or that if we come out with some money under the budget, that goes back into the coffers to sustain the group in different ways or go towards another activity. When we apply for project grants, we do calculate that voluntary contribution based on previous experiences and in terms of hours that would be, and we've got a fairly good handle on that now. So when we apply for the grant, that does include that voluntary contribution.
So does anybody actually do the measuring of, do we all just, I'm kind of guessing that the reason for this question is, about burnout and about people running groups and, that person who starts driving it and then it all just falls over because that person's not driving it anymore. So none of the rest of us do this around measurement of stuff?
Antonella, does Connect Groups encourage groups that are affiliated members to measure volunteer time? Because that's something that could be really encouraged. That's important, Kit.
Okay, so government actually is asking us to always measure. But we recognise that in order to measure, let's say, what they consider to be measurable outcomes, it's quite a complex process. And for us at the moment, it's more about the focus, Anna, in keeping the groups going, rather than, what we're doing internally is we will ask the groups, can you give us sort of, how many people you have? And 98% of our members are volunteer run. So you can easily calculate that as far as you were asking the volunteer hours, because if you just look at the average of people coming, how often they meet, and then we know all the back end administration, we can come to that. But we're not encouraging that because it's like putting another layer already on top of what they're doing in an unfunded capacity. And then how do you measure the Facebook one? See what I'm saying? And just to make a note, we have noticed a high peak of Facebook groups. And as an organization, moved to actually have Facebook recognized as peer support groups. So when we're reporting back to government, we are reporting on that activity as well.
Can I just say something in relation to that measuring volunteer hours? Because we recognise and can see the amount of voluntary hours that go into something that looks like any sort of peer connect, whether it's online, whether it's face-to-face, whatever it looks like and whatever component it takes. I think we really need to start getting smart, okay, in terms of the new world, in terms of grants, in terms of outcomes, measuring outcomes, because the people in this room who are delivering volunteer hours, the amount of dollars that is saving the government is absolutely significant. And so we as a group of people need to learn how to measure our social impact. The impact of what you're doing on the ground is something we all need to pay attention to. And I think, and I don't necessarily believe that needs to be through volunteers. I think that's where we should have some support to actually get some people who do this work to measure our social impact. You guys on the ground are doing enough in terms of building your capacity amongst each other. We need to get some people in who do this social impact measurement stuff and get them on board to let the government know how valuable your groups are.
We've only just got a couple more minutes, so no, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Karina, yes.
I was just saying, to continue on with that, government need to go into measuring the amount of times that our carers, our husbands, our wives, that they put into the work looking after us with disabilities.
Yeah.
$560 a fortnight, coupled rate. No one can live off that. Not even our politicians, but they expect us as, local community people.
Thank you. So we've got zero time, but really quickly, can I just get... sorry, Antonella. 10 seconds? Yep.
Just a comment. Measuring social impact is incredibly difficult, but what we've done is we've just gone through trying, because it's a mathematical, unfortunately it's like, it turns into this huge Excel sheet. But the positive message is that we've looked at developing an actual framework, and now we're trying to get some funding behind it so that it is easily, you can then look at applying it. But if we're trying, even our organizations try to measure social impact, we're talking about very few organizations out there that can actually apply it, because there's thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. And that's where, we're actually being put in that position because it's so hard to do it the way the government wants it. That's why they don't want it from us. So we need to be doing it, but it's very difficult.
It'd be nice for someone to measure the social impact of the NDIS grassroots group with 43,000 members. Who's waving from the... Hello. Hey. Did... Yep.
Is there groups out there for people who, like normal people, who want to learn about disability, and because I feel there are some people who don't know about people who have disabilities and need to learn about it so then they can help other people. So I'm just wondering, is there any groups out there for people who find it very hard to help someone with a disability?
I think so probably that question, whenever people say normal people, I have to think, oh no, you're not talking about us because we're normal and the people who are non-disabled are not. No, but I know what you mean. But so I think, you're talking about awareness, and I think one of the things that the NDIS is supposed to do is actually make us be not just in the community visiting like it's a tourist attraction. It's actually supposed to mean that we're going to be alongside everybody when we're working, when we're at school, in day-to-day life. And I think that's probably the awareness program that we all need, is actually that we are doing the same things as everybody else. And Savannah has a saying which is lose the awkward, which I think is, that people just need to stop being awkward with disabled people. So I don't think they should need a training program, really. I think they should just, just get over it and just go, yeah, just people. Would that cover it? I'll just go really quickly because we are out of time, but just if I can get all of you just to tell us in 10 seconds and under, one really important thing that you learned. There's going to be at least half the panel that looks terrified right now. Not you. Now, so somebody said before that, that burnout, is a really big thing, and one of those key messages might be share the load, so to avoid burnout. So what would your thing be that you learnt that would be a message from your peer support group in general?
Oh, in general. It's too hard to put into 10 seconds. However, what I've learned has sustained me and nurtured me through many transitions and issues and challenges by the sheer sharing of experiences and brain power, collective brain power, and brainstorming and problem solving.
That's pretty close to 10 seconds.
My one learning is just how powerful and important connection is for everyone, and how much can be achieved by coming together as a collective and having our voice heard and being able to access and share and support each other.
Peer groups aren't the whole world. We need to be out there.
Yes.
I've learnt that people, as in like members of the Peer Connect, do want to help and be involved, but sometimes they might just need a bit of encouragement to take the lead or take control. So, mentoring, yeah.
I think that the camaraderie and everyone being able to contribute and learn from each other is the most important.
I've learnt so much, it's insane. But one thing I think is that's really nice about Wyden is we all kind of have differences and we have different disabilities, but it's very even, and like we don't kind of do the we understand that everyone has their challenges, and we're all like have different big passions, but at the end of the day we're all fighting for the same thing. And yeah, it's really good, and I love Wyden, so
And I guess mine is that we probably need to do this more, and we need to do, we need to have more peer support, and during this time that we have, probably the most important reform scheme in the last 50 years, that we can only make this work together, and there's a lot of work to do. We can't do it by ourselves, so we need to keep working hard and smash it. Can I get you all to give a round of applause to these fabulous people?
Thank you, Sam. I just want to thank our fabulous panel here today. Really mindful insights about what it's like to be part of these groups. And these are actually leaders of the group. So these are the people that you go to that are the day in, day out, work every day. They're the leaders of the future, I think. And we need to support people to make sure that their peer networks stay strong. Okay, we've got a little something for you. I told you we didn't have much, but we've got a little something just to thank you for your contribution today. And thank you.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, they've all got names on. Oh, right, okay. All right, okay. Well, that's what happens when you don't have your glasses on. Sam, we've got something for you, but yours is later. So thank you for... yeah, and it's in the shape of a glass. So thank you very much to all our peer network groups. Thank you for coming and sharing your stories with us. Just a couple of minutes, and our next guest will be Sam Payer from the Growing Space. I know you're all waiting to hear from Sam with her all of the inside info from the NDIS. So once again, put your hands together for our lovely local peer support networks. Thank you. And thanks, Sam, for facilitating the session. Thank you. Alrighty.